Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today I'm going to show you how to make your very own gift bags. Now I love using gift bags, but I always seem to run out at the most inopportune times. So today I'm going to show you how to make them out of supplies that you normally have in your crafting stash. I'm also going to show you how to use Crafty Croc liquid chalk markers to decorate these bags. We're going to stamp with them, we're going to draw with them, we're going to write with them. There's so much you can do with these fabulous versatile projects. I'm going to show you how to use a punch board to make your bags. I'm also going to show you how you can do it without any special supplies at all. So let's get started. First off, I want to show you how I made the gift bag with a punch board. Now this is a product by WeR Memory Keepers. I've had it for a while, but I've never actually used it. So the cool thing about this is it punches the notches that you're going to fold at, and it gives you the increments on where to score it. And since I'm making a large bag, I am going to score at the L mark. So I have a piece of paper that's 6 inches wide by 12 inches long. And then on the board itself, it gives you the instructions on how to make the bag. But you know, if you have a regular scoring board, like a Score Pal or any other brand scoreboard, you can actually find a lot of templates online that will tell you how to do the exact same thing. So I probably wouldn't run out and buy this product if you didn't already have it, but if you do have it, it's a great way to make some very quick gift bags. And of course it punches the little flaps there. So as long as you follow the directions on the board, you'll be fine. Now if you want to do this with your Score Pal, simply measure out your paper and divide it by the size that you want your sides to be, and you can figure out a template, or you can go online and search scoreboard box templates and come up with tons of ideas. And that's how I did that. You're also going to want to punch holes at the top of the bag if you want to put string through it, or you can close it with a staple or a sticker or a bag topper, whatever you want to do. And you can totally use a hand squeeze punch if that's easier. I actually think it is easier, especially if you're using a really thick paper board. Next, I simply creased all of these score marks that I had made. The gussets go inward and all of the other scores go outward, and I'm adding adhesive on 3 of the flaps, leaving one of the long flaps unadhered. Now I find it's a little bit easier to do the side flap first, so you're kind of connecting the bag on the side seam, and then I fold in the 2 little tabs that have adhesive on it, and then I want to push the longer tab that has adhesive on it on top of those, and then finally that tab with no adhesive will go last. You can see I kind of messed it up there. There we go. And finally I just stick my hand in the bag to press down to make sure all the adhesive bonds nicely. That punch board method is great if you're using cardstock, but if you're using craft paper or some paper that's not quite as sturdy, or you want to make a larger bag, I recommend that you use a book or a box as a template and make your own. This way you can make it any size you want, and I'm just using an old cigar box as my template. So what you want to do is cut your craft paper so it's a little bit larger than your template, and what I did was I folded down about 3 inches on one side for the top flap. That way my ribbons are going to pull through when I punch the holes and put ribbon in. And then you simply need to add some adhesive onto the bag to seal it down. You could even run another strip of adhesive along the outer edge so it traps that seam down a little bit better. Now scooch that box a little bit closer to the end, and you're going to fold up the bottom of the bag kind of like you would a present. Just try to get very neat and crisp creases when you do that, because you want to have a nice squared off box, and then put a couple strips of adhesive there to secure it, and fold it up and press it down really, really well. I also like to kind of pinch all the corners and crease them if I can, just to have a nice sharp looking professional box. Now while I still have my template inside, I'm going to do any of my designing, writing, drawing, coloring, whatever I want to do with my Crafty Croc liquid chalk markers. I really enjoy these markers. They have a reversible nib, so if I want to have a really, really fine design, I can flip it to the chisel side and just work on the tip, or I can use broad strokes for the chisel side, or I could use the bullet tip for more general purposes. Having that reversible nib is really nice, and you can actually get replacements. They usually send you a few replacements in the package, which is really great. Now I want to thank them so much for sponsoring this video. I love to share quick and easy ideas, especially around the holidays, and these markers certainly make the gift wrap packaging a lot easier. Now another trick you can do is after you do your writing is you can doodle on a few things like holly berries and holly leaves. You can also use a white marker to add little highlights to your letters, and it really makes them stand out and look extra special. When you're done decorating the front of your bag, simply remove the box you were using as a template and punch a couple holes at the top for ribbon. Now I can punch through all layers at once with my heavy duty crocodile, but if you don't have that, don't worry, you can punch each side one at a time with a standard office punch. Now I'm going to use a couple strands of red raffia ribbon to make handles for my bag. I'm just going to put the ends through the holes and tie both ends together. I'll do that to both sides, and it's easy as pie. I found a really inexpensive pad of chalkboard cardstock at the Kraft store a couple months ago, and I thought it would be really great to make some gift bags out of, especially since I could stamp with these Crafty Croc liquid chalk markers. So what I'm doing here is just taking a frame stamp. It's not even a Christmas frame, it's just like a generic frame that I liked that I've had in my stash for a few years, and I'm coloring the stamp right on the rubber with several shades of green ink. And then I added some dabs of red because I knew that red and green would look so Christmassy and that it would show up really well on this chalkboard paper because these Crafty Croc liquid chalk markers are so opaque. The colors I'm using come from the Crafty Croc Liquid Chalk 18 pack, which includes the earth tones as well as the bright colors, so it's a really nice variety, and I don't think many of the chalk marker companies even offer earth tones, which is really wonderful, and they're all opaque, so I know they're going to stand out really well on this black cardstock. Now this cardstock is really interesting. It's kind of got a pebbly mottled texture, very much like a chalkboard, and look how well the markers stand out. I mean, they almost glow on there. Now the thing you do want to keep in mind is that you want to let that dry before you try to fold up your box, or you will smear the markers. They're going to dry a little bit quicker than they would on like a glossy surface, but they're going to dry slower than they would on the craft paper, so just keep that in mind when you're working. I decided to work on another image for a tag while the other piece was drying, and I'm doing it the exact same way. This is an inexpensive clear stamp, and I'm just coating it with the greens, pinks, and red markers. And I like how this chalk marker will stick to the clear stamp. Sometimes regular markers don't like to stick, they like to bead up on it, so this is also a nice benefit of having the opaque chalk markers. And I'm just going to press this onto a tag, and this is the exact same paper I just used, except I die cut it into a tag shape, and I find that's a really great way to make use of your scraps when you cut down a piece of paper. That way it doesn't go to waste, and you always need more tags this time of year. I wanted to show you the difference between the bullet point and the chisel point. So here I'm writing to Mom from Lynn with the bullet point. And now with that same marker, I'm simply going to remove the nib and flip it around so I can write with the chisel point. Now I've been using this marker for a couple months, so it's not exactly as sharp and new as one fresh out of the package, but you can see you can still get a lot of detail. So here I'm even writing in cursive. I'm writing to Dad from Lynn, and it's still working really well. So I like products that give me a lot of versatility when I'm working, and these markers certainly do that. Just make sure that you let this dry before you go on to any other steps. You don't want to go trying to tie that onto a bag while it's still wet, or you're going to smear it and you'll be very sad. When it's dry, you can fold it up and add ribbons just like you did before. The other thing I like about this paper is that the inside is colored, so I can actually kind of leave it open and you see that pretty mint green poking through. I just think that's really cute. And if you get any spots where the cardstock cracked, you can use one of the black markers to touch it up, which is also something I like to do when I'm all done. For this bag, I used my same punch tool to make the bag, but I used my scoring board to extend the line so I could make it kind of long and narrow. And I decided I wanted to have a fold over top, so I just folded it over about 1.5 inches and then scored it so I'd have a nice crisp fold. Then I tied some snowflake ribbon around the flap, and I thought it'd be a really nice touch to put a candy cane in there. And this is just one of those inexpensive plastic ones. You can get a pack at the dollar store, or you can use a real one. Either way, it's going to be adorable. And I just finished off with a cute little bow, and I tied a jingle bell around the candy cane as well because I just think it's fun to have a jingly present. And to finish it off, I used a vinyl chalkboard sticker. These are really great because you can actually wipe off the chalk and then rewrite if you need to. Just make sure you let that dry completely before you stick it onto the package, or you will smear it with your fingers when you're trying to adjust it. The other great thing is you can actually peel it off and restick it if you need to, which happens to me all the time because I can never seem to stick it down right in the first place. I also wanted to show you really quick that you do not have to work on black chalkboard paper or chalkboard labels to have these look really fantastic. Well, you know it looks fantastic on Kraft, but it also looks really great on pastel colors. So here I have the reverse side of that black chalkboard paper, which is that pretty aqua teal kind of color, and I'm just drawing on a little snowflake with the bullet end of my white marker. I think it's adorable, and it's just another way you can use these chalk markers for a totally versatile look. I want to thank Crafty Croc Liquid Chalk Markers for sponsoring this video today. I really love their products and I think you will too. I'll have a link in the video description so you can go find them on Amazon.com. They're on sale right now and there may even be a special coupon code for you so you can save even more. So don't forget to check it out. Please try making some of these bags. They're super fun and easy and they will see you through in a pinch this holiday wrapping season. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.